All right, welcome inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. On a Feel Good Friday morning, great time to talk sports and everything within that space. It is 17 minutes past 8 a.m. Ayokunmi here. And of course, I will be joined, as always. You know how we do every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the locker room. The one and only Tega Supreme. Tega, good morning to you.
Woo, 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 woo. Oh yeah, I'm bouncing.
It's
Thank God
Friday.
it's
Bounce all the way.
Friday. I'm telling you. That's it. Oh well, it has been a great and fulfilling week. That's all I can say. But how's your week been? Not you, everybody else.
Okay, okay, okay.
All right, so today we're going to touch on what is happening today. Hmm. We're going to talk about, well, first of all, let's talk about the fact that FIFA has released their own FIFA best list is out. And with FIFA best, fans have the opportunity to vote. So all of you that were shouting Vinny Jr. that played only half season last year,
Go and vote to.
you, go and vote him so that people will be happy. We all shall know that he played only half season last year. He can cry, he can be angry. Real Madrid can throw their head against the wall when they finish. The best player last year was Rodri. But there's an opportunity for him to win and Brazil to be quiet. Please go and vote. Uh-huh. In fact, there are many categories. You don't even have to vote for Rodri for midfielder of the season. You don't even have to vote him for player of the year. Whatever you do, just satisfy your anger, urge, or your thoughts by voting. Okay? And make sure you go and vote. All right. So FIFA best list is out. That's one. What else has happened so far? Uh-huh. So we'll talk about the UEFA Champions League. Some of us missed the Wednesday version. So it's time to catch up. We'll also talk about the weekend build up. Their matches coming in. And then we'll
Right.
clap for Amorim. Oh. He won his first match yesterday. Mm,
Yes, so
mm.
it's
That's
not
how
easy.
that's how Hoyland came to say, I like this time. You didn't like it on Saturday. It's only yesterday you liked it. See your mouth. All right, so we'll talk about that and more in the locker room this morning. We'll also talk about Iga Tech.
Hmm.
The doping is going around. But if you don't see a tennis player for a while, doping has been involved somehow or some way. All right, so we'll talk about that in the locker room. But before we talk about anything, Ayokomi, tell us, how can we be part of the locker room this morning?
I thought you'd never ask. All right, you can join us in the locker room this morning by sending your messages into us on WhatsApp. That's one way to get across to us in the locker room this morning. The WhatsApp number hasn't changed. It remains 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. You can also join the live stream on YouTube and drop your comments there. We are at Smooth 981 FM Lagos on YouTube. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. That is on YouTube. The studio line is 0201 4489981. 0201 4489981. That's we'll decide to open at a convenient time as well. But first, right into the stories. And we're going to begin with a need for speed, talking about Formula One and of course the FIA. Yes. Now, a senior steward fired by Formula One's governing body says the FIA is running out of people to do those jobs. Is Tega, what is happening here? Is
I,
sacking,
I
sacking,
just want to
sacking.
tell you, this is the fourth one. This is the fourth senior official to leave the FIA. Everybody wants to be president, but nobody knows what leadership entails.
Hmm.
And so once there's a little opposition, people just start leaving. And that's where the problem is. Everybody wants to be owner, CEO. When they think of those things, they think of occupying office, you know, controlling authority,
All
lording
the
it over other people.
all the glitz
All
and glamour.
the all the glitz and glamour and some of the misguided notions about what sitting in a position of power should be. But nobody understands that the real work is in leadership, and leadership is ultimately service to people. And so, because they don't understand that, the what has happened now is that the racing is the director for F2, who is replacing one of the senior people that have also left. So he's the assistant to the former assistants who left. I don't understand how else to put it.
Assistant, the former assistant.
Yes.
That's so
So
Nigerian.
after the first person left F1, they promoted from F2 to F1. Then that one left. And then the assistant rose up to F2. That assistant's assistant is now the guy that is going to be the race director for both F1 and F2 because it's literally just 2 races left in the season.
Hmm.
Um, but he has to manage F1 and F2 now for what is left of the season. Yes.
And it's also
it's
confusing.
it's terrible. So we know remember when we were talking about it that the FIA president is fighting everybody and everybody's fighting with him. You know the drivers have their fight with him. Now
Oh,
the
yes.
staff have their
Con
fight with him.
concerning
I
language and
think
all that.
yes, I think eventually and a language is what the bone of contention is now. Remember, piercings was what his problem was last season. Nose, yes, piercings, nose rings, all those other rings. He had a problem with it last season. This season is language. Lord knows what will be next season. He obviously has a way he sees things. And without trying to stereotype, but he's from a particular area where conservativeness and modesty have been confused with each other.
But you can't bring all that into this sort of domain. I mean, keep your
You
personal
people
beliefs in
should,
your pocket.
you people should help me tell him. Oh. And so now it's language. Next season, Lord only knows what he will come up with. He's everybody. He's obviously fighting with everybody, and I think the thing that will break the camel's back is when he starts fighting with sponsors because nobody touches a rich man's money and survives it. So I'm
Mm,
waiting for him to start fighting with sponsors before the real problems will happen.
we shall see. We shall be here. We'll be watching. Maybe next season, he'll say that okay, drivers cannot wear what they wear. They should be wearing that white the white jalabia or whatever. Because I don't understand what exactly it is that he's trying to do right now. Anyways, let's leave that and talk about tennis. And of course, you mentioned this earlier, Iga Swiatek, world number two and five-time Grand Slam champion Iga Swiatek has accepted a 1 month suspension after testing positive for a banned substance. On Wednesday, Tega, we're talking about uh, sniffing car exhaust. Now, Iga, what's happening?
Okay, now this one is even, let me even give you backstory. It did not happen now, since August. You see, this is the problem we had with Yannick Sinner's own. The difference between Iga Swiatek and Yannick Sinner is that when Iga Swiatek sample was found with that, she was at the Cincinnati Masters, but when they checked her sample B and then they gave her the opportunity to respond, um, and she was suspended for 30 days. All that happened in August and September. The difference in Iga Swiatek and Yannick Sinner is that Iga didn't play any matches. She was not at any tournament in
Hmm.
the so we actually in the period of her doping. So remember that time we're saying, oh, maybe she's suffering from stress. Her performance on court has been questionable. That time I was talking about it that look, Iga Swiatek looks like she's struggling with something else. That
Right.
her performance was yes, her performance was really mental more than physical because she didn't say she had any injuries, but you could see that she was not playing her best tennis, which is why she dropped from when this thing happened, she was still world number one, which is why she dropped from world number one to world number two now, and Sabalenka is now on top. It was around that period. So this was an incident that happened between August, September, thereabout. So the 30 day suspension, she has already served it before we even heard.
Hmm.
She was found with a banned substance in her, but they saw that it was contamination. So apparently she'd been taking a drug to help her sleep because she has been struggling with her sleep. I know these things. When I tell the player is suffering mentally, people should be listening to me. I'm a prophet. Anyway, she was struggling with sleeping. And as an athlete, when
Are you there, Tega? Please don't tell me the gremlins are holding your network hostage right now. Maybe that is the case. I hope you can get back in ASAP so that you can finish this submission concerning this. Because I remember, like I said, we're talking about this on Wednesday concerning tennis players and, of course, banned substances and finding a way around it. And now we're just hearing about this Ika issue. So we'll try to get Tega back in ASAP so she can continue her thoughts. I think she's back. Tega, are you back in?
I'm in. Oh, sorry
All
about
right.
that. Yeah. She had submitted everything. And so it was when they were looking through the samples, they found that it was what she was using for sleeping that the contamination came up from. So it was again, negligible amount, number one. Number two, it was obviously from that contaminated sample. But at the end of the day, they had to provisionally suspend her till the investigation was over. My problem is, number one, world number one in both men and women's tennis have been found with banned substances. That is not a good look, which means athletes are becoming now more careless, which is what didn't used to happen before. Number two, they are hiding it until the entire case is over, which is obviously upsetting and it doesn't give transparency. And at the end of the day, it puts the athletes in bad light. And
Mm.
number three, I don't care whether you have been cleared or not. From now on, Tega Onojiafe will start looking at you. Funny. And but Iga Swiatek has been cleared, but a lot of athletes again have come out to talk about why they're covering all these things that they are even the ones making it look more suspicious. And then
Right.
Simona Halep now posted. Remember Simona Halep had yes. Remember that they even refused to hear Simona Halep's case till after 18 months. Then they found out it was contamination before she could play. And then even the Players' Council and the WTA refused to return her to her ranking. So she had to now start fighting her way to the top. After struggling for 2 years, she had to now start fighting her way to the top. And so Simona's question is, I'm not saying whether Iga doped or not. I'm saying, why didn't I get the same treatment like Iga did? That's all she's
Hmm.
asking. And it's a
Moving,
valid question.
moving of the goalposts or shifting of the goalposts.
Exactly. It's a valid question. Why didn't I get the same treatment like Iga and Sina did? That's her own question. And I'm with her and I'm waiting for the answer.
We're definitely all waiting for the answers. Interesting times in the sport of tennis. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back in, we'll dive into some footballing stories. Rodri is setting an early return target after knee surgery. Will he be able to come back in time to save Man City's season? We'll find out on the other side of the show.
You won't believe it. My hotel Wi-Fi went off.
Oh, okay.
So I just quickly switched to my data.
Hmm.
Because when I saw myself logged out, I was like, how did I log out?
Because initially you froze, like it froze. Then it wasn't. Then I couldn't hear anything again. I was like, did I say network don't hook? Oh. So I
I
just
didn't
started
even know that.
explain.
Do you understand? I didn't even know that I froze. I
Sometimes,
just I just saw me. It was when I signed out that I was like, because I was still talking. It was when I signed out that I was signed out that I realized that Wi-Fi has gone. So I shall go downstairs and fight. You know that I like to fight for Africa. How dare you? How dare you?
good network is underrated.
Like how can they just lock me out of Wi-Fi?
It happen. It happen. No, there's
So I'm just going to be here until I'm going to use my own until I finish, and then we go
yeah.
downstairs and call.
That's a safe thing. That's that's a
Mm,
safe thing to do.
yeah.
That's what Nigeria has turned us to. If you want to do something online, You have like 2 or 3 different networks.
Uh-uh.
So if one messes up, sharply switch over to the next one. Like that, like
Can
that.
hotel this.
That's where we are right now.
Even the best of, that's why we don't have 5 star. Even the best of hotels are still subject to Nigerianness.
God deliver us from
You're
Nigerianness.
right.
Mm. And we're back. If you're just tuning in, you're welcome into the locker room. Ayokunmi here. And of course, Tega is in with me on this ride on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Your love music and love life, as well as love sports station. It's 32 minutes past 8 a.m. on a feel good Friday, a feel good time to talk about sports. We are looking forward to you sharing your thoughts with us on WhatsApp. You can send your messages in on 0809 444 0981 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. We're also on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. We're streaming live, and you can drop your comments there. Uche Nwokoye, I see you. I see you. Thank you for dropping the comments. I'll take that as we get along on the show. All right, Tega, let's talk about some footballing matters. And Rodri is in the news, like I mentioned earlier. Now, he said he's aiming to return from his serious knee injury before the end of the current campaign, despite the midfielder being ruled out for the season in September. Rodri wants to use some magic to come back.
Yeah, so um it's just so funny. Look, I want to make a public service announcement. If you know anybody working in human rights organization, please direct us there, because I don't know that anybody should be rushing from a knee surgery to come back into the squad. But what has happened is, because of the way the Manchester City have fallen in the past few matches. In fact, no wins in 6 matches. I remember how they capitulated on Tuesday, from
Mm.
being 3-0 up to ending that match 3-3. Um, uh, I think they're now trying to rush players on, and it's not only Manchester City before it says Pep Guardiola. Too many players have been rushed back in, and that's how they've rushed them back out. I didn't think Militao should have played as much football as he did when he came back from an ACL injury.
Mm.
Ayua, another ACL. So these injuries are becoming a bit too much, and these players are pushing themselves above and beyond. And it doesn't make any sense that Rodri should even be thinking of any on-field issues. He should just continue doing his media tour. In fact, he should do it now more, now that FIFA Best has come out. Just be carrying the Ballon d'Or. He shouldn't be thinking of coming back. And I think it's ridiculous that anybody is suggesting to him that he should come back early. What kind of miracle drug does he want to take? It's his body. Biology is not miracle. It takes time. It will take the time that it will take. But hey, here we are with him trying to rush back in. But the first point of call for Pep Guardiola would not be waiting for Rodri. It will be Liverpool this weekend.
Oh, yes.
Huge match this weekend. Now, and the slot was trying to be polite, and he said something like, "Oh, Pep Guardiola has what it takes to turn things around." He no have. he needs he needs his players, and he needs some more billions to be able to turn things around. All right. So if you know what is good for you, beat him comprehensively, because he has recovered from 8 points, but I'm not sure he has recovered from 11. So extend that gap because you can.
That's the only sensible thing to do. And this is the
I'm
perfect time for
telling you.
Liverpool to actually play Man City when they are wounded.
Yep,
Perfect time.
yep.
Because Liverpool are
Perfect
in
time. So
super form right now.
the truth of the matter is Liverpool, I don't even think it's form. I think they found a way and a process and a strategy of going match after match and getting the results, even when they don't play brilliantly. Against Real Madrid on Wednesday, they played brilliantly. But over the weekend again, on Saturday against Sunday against Southampton, they didn't play very brilliantly. They still won the match. So either way, just go out there, do the work, win the match, extend that gap to 11. Let's see whether he can come back.
Mm. That'll be the great escape if Man City actually are able to come back into contention this season, because Liverpool don't seem like they're lifting their feet off the gas, as they say in America. And we talked about Rodri earlier on. Let's talk about Camavinga, Eduardo Camavinga. He unfortunately has joined Real Madrid's growing injury list after injuring his thigh in Wednesday's 2-0 Champions League defeat against Liverpool. Another Madrid player. At this point in time, Madrid will have to also enter their own crash because everybody is out injured.
They've already answered the question. I like that Asensio boy in defense. I love him. Yes, you can still see one or two moments where he's not concentrating, but that one comes with youthfulness. Sometimes they space out and then they come back in. But I like the way he covers. I like the way he moves. I love him. So they've already started entering the crutch, but you have to remember Camavinga is joining Tchouaméni, Rodrigo, Vinicius.
Militao.
And then Real Madrid is already playing -1 because Mbappe up front is not helping their condition. Mbappe might as well be in the clinic trying to recuperate. So Real Madrid they're really in the fix. The good news is that in the La Liga, they are not so far behind. Why? Because Barcelona youthful team have also lost their mind sometimes, either picking up senseless red cards, or dropping points from winning positions like they did last weekend against Celta Vigo. So Real Madrid are just 4 points behind Barcelona, and they have a game in hand. So against Valencia due to that time of the flooding. So
Right.
it's not they're not suffering so badly in the La Liga the way they are suffering in the Champions League. But somebody said they won it last season. They can afford to take a gap year or two. So let's count this as their gap year.
I mean, all right, all right. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about Ruben Amorim. Uh, first win at home first win really as Manchester United manager as Rasmus Højlund scored twice as United came out on top 3-2 in a chaotic Europa League encounter against Bodo Glimt on Thursday, giving Ruben Amorim a win in his first home game at Old Trafford. Chaotic is the right word to use.
Yes, it was chaotic. Both teams, they had some kind of madness. So first of all, it was Manchester United. I think Amorim's reign you're going to see a few early goals, because maybe they're just coming out of the locker room, they're charged. Anyway, they scored another early goal, um, against Bodo Glimt, but Bodo Glimt now came back and scored 2 goals before the 30th minute mark, and it looked like they were on top until the end of the game where the end of the first half where they conceded the goal, and it was 2-2. I expected a more competitive second half, but Manchester United came out again in the early minutes of the first half, scored another goal to make it 3-2. Bodo Glimt had their opportunities, and 2 of them came from defensive, I don't know, miscommunications in the back. But they couldn't take advantage of those 2 opportunities, and Manchester United eventually walked away with a 3-2 win. Bottom line, Ruben Amorim has gotten his first win, and he'll be hoping it's not the only one. But Manchester United is chaotic. You can't always win matches like that, where you are vulnerable defensively, you're not compact in the midfield, and you're not clinical up front. You can't always win matches like that. They won this one, but they have to play much better if they're going to stay winning.
Most definitely. It has to be more compact. And of course, control of games, very, very
Yeah,
key.
just have it
Very, very
because
key.
and Amorim has said shy people will suffer, so get ready to suffer.
Well, I mean, the storm comes before we see the rainbow. So let the storm now. We'll see rainbow later on. Hopefully,
All
fingers
right.
are crossed on that one. All right, let's talk about David Coote, Tega. David Coote, talking about him again. Now, England's FA said it's investigating allegations that referee David Coote had a discussion with a friend about issuing a yellow card to a player the day before a match. Allegations which the under fire referee has denied. It's like village people
Well,
have camped on this man's matter.
no. So he offended somebody. They said, you are done today. I wanted to say, I wanted to say they should try with other English referees, but Tega, moving on. Don't be vindictive. But yes,
Hmm.
somebody has camped on David Coates' matter. Now, this investigation is happening not just because there was an alleged discussion with a friend that he was going to show a yellow card to a particular player, but because during the match he actually showed a yellow card to that player. And then there was an alleged text message sent after the match that hope you backed up what I said, kind of
Hmm.
insinuating that they've discussed giving the player the yellow card. Then he actually did give the player the yellow card. And then he was making sure that his friend could have possibly placed a bet on the yellow card for it for him to get money. Do you now understand why the investigation is taking place? It's not just the conversation. It's the fact that the yellow card was given and there was a text message after that could be interpreted to mean that I did you a favor. Where's my court? So
Exactly.
it looks like sports betting slash match fixing. That's what it's looking like now. That's why the investigation is on. But at this point in time, there is no coming back from David Coates. Even if they find him not guilty in this case, and even if they say that, oh, the video he did, he's allowed to do those videos. The only mistake was that it came out to the public. Even if they decide that the parties that he had, he wasn't necessarily breaking any laws, he's not going to come back into the spotlight. He's done. He's done with refereeing. So that's it for David Coates. At this point in time, we just want to hear what he's guilty of or what he's not guilty of. But if he's ever coming back, I don't think so.
Hmm.
The negative spotlight is too much.
Way too much. That is a huge cloud hanging over him right now, especially in a position as sensitive as refereeing. Highly doubtful that's going to happen. All right, let's quickly talk about Tottenham. They were also in action in the Europa League yesterday. Veteran defender Mats Hummels snatched elite equalizer for Claudio Ranieri's Roma to frustrate Tottenham in the Europa League. 2-2 draw out there.
Yes. So Tottenham, coming from the high of beating Manchester City by 4 goals to nil. Yes, guys, you really beat them at the right time. And it's not that you were brilliant because they came up against a Roma side. They scored the first goal. Roma equalized. And then Roma scored a brilliant goal, but that was correctly ruled as offside. And then Tottenham went on to score the second goal that took them 2-1 up. And they could have scored a third. Roma scored. Roma put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, but they had 4 offsides yesterday. And I just didn't understand why they kept going on offside. You're wearing red, Tottenham is wearing white. Just look across the lines. Um, they were so they put the ball in the back of the net 3 times or 4 times yesterday, and they were all ruled correctly as offside. But eventually, Matt Hummels equalized, and Tottenham couldn't get all 3 points. But yesterday was the real Tottenham. Over the weekend, that thing that happened against Manchester City, I think it was a function of Manchester City's form, much more than it was an indication of Tottenham Hotspur's brilliance. I don't know if I said that right, but yeah, that's what has happened. So yeah, Tottenham has gone back to factory setting. Let's see what happens this weekend. This weekend is going to be brilliant because people are going to be looking for, will Amorim win? Will Manchester City win? Will Arsenal win? So there's just so many teams waiting. Also, Chelsea played yesterday against a team I refused to learn how to pronounce their name. And the one that matched
Hide,
by two
Heidenheim.
goals to nil. I think we have come to the conclusion that Chelsea is winning that conference league, haven't we? If you have not, I have. Mm.
Well, I will I will keep my thoughts to myself for now. Let's see what happens as the competition goes along. All right, let's take messages as we round up on the locker room this morning. Emeka says, my question with that FIFA list is that why is Messi nominated on that list? Must he be there every year? I can bet even after he's retired and one day announces his wife is having a baby, you will see his name on the list because after all, a win is a win. My only joy is that our boy Troost Ekong was nominated among the best defenders of 2024. All right, AY Fominero says, on the issue of doping in sports, the truth is when it comes to disciplinary actions and sanctions, all athletes are supposed to be equal. but the reality is that some athletes are more equal than others. Animal Farm.
I'm
As for
telling you.
Mbappe, Tega was right all along when she said she wasn't expecting anything substantial from the Frenchman. Tega, open your ministry. I will be there. I definitely will be there.
Mm.
Tayo
We will
says,
collect it an offering. It's
no,
compulsory.
no problem, no problem. We'll work it out. Tayo says, if Rodri rushes in, he'll quickly rush back to the hospital and join injury ambassador Reece James there. Wow, Tayo. Pep should not scratch his face this time around against Liverpool. I like this new UEFA format. Let me see how Real Madrid will win trophies. Coots Village people have opened a WhatsApp group on his head, and Tottenham, Robin Hood FC. Ifedayo says, Man City cannot survive this weekend against Liverpool. Another loss loading for them. And on YouTube, Uche Nawoko says, a good win for United. Garnacho and Rashford should look in the mirror and question their application. The team is blending well. Good times ahead. Blending well. Are you in the oil and gas sector? Uchenna, I had to ask the question. LK Adirogba says they obviously want to rush Rodri back because of their abysmal form. Tega, please don't go and fight too. We know what that means. Don't worry. Don't worry. We know.
Yeah, that one was off air. That one was off air. All right. On that note, I want to thank you for sending me your messages via WhatsApp. Thank you for streaming on YouTube and getting behind information. Thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. Till I come your way again on Monday, please do not pray that your team is not fodder for banter. All right. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, Tega. Thank you once again. And thank you all for keeping it tuned and sending your messages in as well. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a great conversation on Lagos Talks at 9. Keep it tuned. Smooth 98.1.